So today's question is not specifically a jiu-jitsu question. It's more of kind of a general, like, broad question, but it's about my favorite books. So a lot of you guys know that I read, and a lot of you guys send me questions about Chewy. What are your favorite books? What's your favorite book? What books should I be reading? That kind of thing. And again, it's really hard for me to say, like, this is my favorite book, because I like books for different things. Some are for entertainment, some are to help me get ideas for my vocation, some are for general self-development or philosophy, or just different ideas to bring in, right? But I can give you my favorite types of books. Like, my favorite type of book it's very specific, and it's the one I probably read the most of, and it's the one that I also think that I've probably gotten the most from, and I'll share why. So recently I was reading Booker T. Washington's autobiography, and in that book he talks about the fact that probably one of the, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but one of the most powerful educations he got wasn't necessarily from his school studies, but was from being around great people, the people that he's seen as great, and these people who were very good people, who were doing things, that were accomplishing things in their life. Just being around them kind of rubbed off on him, and he learned things through their actions. And when I read that, I remember going, I believe that idea resonated with me deeply. And I think that a lot of times when we read something or we hear someone say something and in us it immediately connects, it's because the idea was already there, but the way that the person sort of brought it up in their particular way sort of brought that idea to the surface for us to look at. And so when he said that, I was like, I agree with that 100%. Because in my life, for example, I've been lucky enough to have several mentors over the years, a lot of them through jiu-jitsu and lifting and things like that. And one of the most powerful things that as I look back on it now, is just being around those guys, right? Seeing how they did things. Not so much what they said. What they said was important too, but watching how they acted. Their behaviors, their habits, the things that they did when problems would pop up, how did they react to them? Because that's instructive. Because as humans, we're like, it's monkey see, monkey do, right? We look at each other and we start to mimic other behaviors. We model after people. And for me growing up, I was poor, relatively poor. By American standards, I was poor because, again, that's not always poor in different countries is a different thing. But in America, I was poor. And I remember I didn't want to be, right? I'm 18 years old and becoming a man. I'm like, I don't want to be poor forever. What do I need to do? So I remember being around some of my mentors. Some of these guys were business owners and had their stuff together. And so watching them very closely, I'm like, well, that guy's got businesses. He's not poor. He's got a really cool lifestyle. He takes naps in the middle of the day if he wants to and all this stuff. Maybe if I model after his behaviors, I can have maybe a similar thing for myself. So let's give it a try. It's been very useful to me. And with that, sometimes the mentors that we would like to have, either they're inaccessible for whatever reason, because they're not around us or whatever, or they may be deceased. And so one of the more powerful ways where I feel like we can get mentors is through autobiographies, biographies, memoirs, things like that, where a person, either through their own words or the words of another, get to break down all the things that they did, their career, their life, how they overcame certain obstacles, all that stuff. And why I think it's important, well, first off, I enjoy them because it kind of combines like two of my favorite things, which is like history. I love history, and you're getting like this history of this person's life or their career, and then you're getting this like self-development sort of slant to it as well. But one of the things that I like about it is because as humans, like the problems that we are faced with, someone's overcame them before. The technology changes for sure, but like the essence, the root of what's going on there is just the same. You can go back to like the 1800s and people were talking about some of the new inventions that were like killing people's attention spans back then, right? Back in the Roman days, if you want to go back then, like the late Roman Republic, some of like when you had this sort of bohemian culture coming through, the older Romans would look at the way that the younger Romans were sort of letting their belt and their toga be a little bit more loose than what was considered normal at the time. And these guys were like getting really upset about it. Like, look how he's wearing his toga. Ugh, these damn young kids in their clothes, right? It's the same stuff. And so a lot of times you can look back and you can see the essence of the root of the problems that have existed over and over again. Then they just recycle just with just different specifics. And so for me, just sharing this with you guys, some of the stuff that I've read and allowed that these people's lives and their ideas to be sort of a mentor to me in a way, have helped me avoid some of the problems in my life or in the business, have helped me sometimes, if I can't avoid them, to lessen the damage that they've done. And in a lot of cases, it's just given me really useful ideas for how to improve myself and how to do more, right? And so for me, like when you guys are asking my favorite book, it's hard to say what my favorite one is, but my favorite type of books typically is autobiographies, biographies, memoirs, where I can read about how other people did things, how they, perfected their career, their vocation, how they lived their life, and the actions that they took. So again, this way I can try to find ideas that I can possibly model after that might be useful into my own life. And so that's the idea with you guys. So those are the types of books that I like to read the most. And what I'll probably do, I share this kind of stuff sometimes irregularly in my email list, which if you want to sign up to get my daily email, you can do that below. What I'll probably do in the future is probably share like a monthly recommendation of books that I'm reading or just read, or something that I think might be interesting. So I'll probably make that a part of it at some point. So more on that later. But otherwise, those are my favorite types of books if you guys were curious, and I'll talk to you guys next time.